Hello, Yugioh players, how are you tonight? Or today? For me, it's tonight, but if you're watching this, it could be today. Okay, let's move on. Do you like this format? That's the question. Do you like the format? And let's break down the format in terms of checkers and chess versus Uno. Some of you guys are like, Uno? What's that? I never played Uno before. Look it up. Google it. I never played checkers and chess before. That's fine. Let me explain. Checkers and chess, everybody get the same pieces, can make the same moves, always. It doesn't deviate. But Uno, you can have 4, 6, 8 players, draw random cards, and you get to make certain plays, and your opponent can make you do certain things you don't want to do. So it's just nothing but a whole bunch of randomness. It's not a standard, okay? Yes, you have the same cards or whatever, but not all the time. Checkers and chess, you start off with the same pieces all the time, every game, no matter what. Uno doesn't. So the format, if it was a checkers and chess format, 2 good decks. Is that good? If the format just had 2 good decks and everybody was running it, you would know what to expect at the same time, all the time, because everybody would have the same thing all the time, every time. Checkers and chess format, you can easily side, the duels are longer. Some people say it takes skill. Okay, it takes skill. Some people might say, well, it's just 2 main decks that do good. And the reason people are playing it because it takes no skill. It's so easy to play. So, I guess when there's just 2 certain decks together, 2 main decks, or even 1 main deck, it must take skill. Even if the deck is skillless, when the mirror match, you gotta outplay your opponent in the mirror match. That is hard work. Or it could be, oh, my hand is better than yours. But still, if both of you guys' hands are good, come on now. Mirror match, you got to outplay your opponent in the mirror match. Got to. Uno, whole bunch of decks. This format, so many decks. So many random things are happening. So many people playing so many different things. I'm okay. So, playing so many different things. But the downside to that is the bad matchups versus the good matchups. You can be going good, but you know your deck will lose almost certainly against a certain deck. But I like diversity. I like diversity. Okay? And the only way you can fight back is the side deck. That's why the side deck in this format is extremely important. Side deck in this format, you gotta master the art of side deck. It is extremely important. Or master the art of surprise. It's extremely important. If your opponent is playing against you, and they say you're playing Dragoonies or whatever, and they're like, you know, I play tested against Dragoonies with my deck. I'm good. But if you have something in there, a tech card or something that they wouldn't expect, it might throw them off, and you might be able to have a bit of an edge. But when you side deck, you got to make sure you have something ready for the decks that are going to hurt you the most. If your deck, you might disagree with me, if your deck has a good matchup against, let's say, 6 out of 10 decks, would you have side deck cards for those cards you have good matchups against? Why would you have side deck cards for that? And then, say you go against a deck you have a bad matchup for, but no, you side deck for decks you have good matchup for, and now you don't have, it's pointless, you wasted the space. If you tested your deck enough against a lot of decks, establish what are your good matchup and your bad matchup. Create a side deck for the bad matchup, so when you side deck, you can even the playing field, and hopefully you'll be able to win. For that format, for this format, diversity format, you need to do that. Checker format, chess format, let's leave that alone. This is a diverse format, and you got a side deck really good. Really good. I can't give you any better tips than that. You must side deck really good. So, you can leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Would you rather have a checker format, 2 good decks? You got to spend a lot of money to buy those decks because they're so good. Or universal format, you can play anything you want. And almost anything you win. Yes, there are still some top decks, but they're not going to win all the time. You got so many side deck cards against those decks. And if you just side deck accordingly, people will be afraid to play those decks. If those decks are topping enough, people will side so much hate that they will eventually begin to start losing more. And people will say, oh, I'm gonna switch to another deck. Okay. That's fine. You can do that. You lost. Goodbye. Have a good night.